just want to say to the fairies that Lisa told me to drink my hot coffee through a straw. Comment below
Yes.
at Lisa Favral. That's insane. Because that is
Stop.
insane. Am I not the. But did I do it?
I can't open
Yes.
my lip gloss. Dude, what the heck? Someone open my lip gloss quickly. My nails are in the way too. Like, damn. I do be suffering for beauty. Oh, I opened it. Whew.
Okay.
Finally. And we're back. Do you hear
Oh!
it? No.
Yes, I did hear the fart sound.
Slay. Okay.
As you said that, my mask fell off.
This episode, it's a long time coming. I'm gonna
It
say
is
it that
long
much.
overdue.
I think that we kind of talked about it in December-ish. Mayhaps
Yeah.
the beginning of January we addressed that we actually went to this opening of this show in Vancouver Art Gallery and we had opinions. I kind of didn't know if people wanted to hear all about that or not, so I kind of pushed it back. But also at the same time, I had so many things to say and I needed time to look at the curatorial statements out there. Yeah, so the experience was really, really strange because I think that honestly, I don't even know if we should be saying that, but the room, the people,
It was. There was a vibe.
there was a vibe going on, which I call, an aura, a stench, if you must, of descendants of very interesting people who have done very interesting things here. Is
If we're
that
being generous, we're
if we're
using.
being generous here? Basically, a lot of old white people who really, really get off on hearing about Eastern Europe in a very particular light. A
This
lot of
is their
people who would
cake.
open their purse and offer up you a lot of bloody money if you just say a lot of shit about Eastern Europe. Like if you just willing to say the most, you'll make money. So we have a really interesting relationship with, if you even
Yeah.
could call that a relationship with Vancouver Art Gallery.
Which I feel like is why we were kind of hesitant about it in the beginning. But now, you know what? Like, fuck all, like, at this point.
The thing is, we don't really have that much of a relationship to like worry about, to be honest, but we kind of we wanted to give a benefit of doubt, I guess. And
Yeah.
also, 2 years ago, we decided to conduct an interview, I guess, with the
Hmm.
curator, one of the main curators at the Vancouver Art Gallery. And at the time, I was gonna post it on my main channel, and like we kind of prepared different outfits and different costumes because it was a fashion related exhibition.
Exhibition.
We prepared looks with by assistant to do a proper overview of the exhibition and all of that kind of stuff, right? But we already had questions about the curation before we were there because there was some verbiage in the curatorial statements that was kind of really puzzling because we were like, oh, they're saying that they're not approaching it from this kind of point of view. They're trying to approach it from a different point of view or whatever. And the point of view that they were describing was not different from any other fashion overviews
Hmm.
that we've seen before. So it was really confusing. And I was hoping that the curator was going to kind of shed some light on it, basically. At the time, because of the economy being a little bit different and because of my channel being a lot bigger than my podcast channel. That video would have cost them about 14K if they were to actually order it from us. But I wanted to have more people be aware of a Vancouver art scene. So I didn't really give a fuck about the payment. I thought that it would be a good thing for the city and for our art scene to have more people be aware of this exhibition and stuff like that because it was curated by our curator, right? So it was kind of like something that I thought would be good for all of us in
Yeah,
general.
it's like truly local, like kind of
Yeah, it
showing
was a
what.
contribution. It was kind of like a donation, basically. Like I didn't ask for payment or anything like that. It would have been an expensive thing for them to actually get if they would have been, paying for it and stuff like that. It wasn't even like I was someone who didn't have a following or someone who doesn't have an education in this and stuff like that. And I just wanted to like come in and just chat. So the whole thing kind of turned real weird after we filmed a lot of the things. We already went through the exhibition, we filmed a lot of parts for the video, and then we had an interview with the curator.
Oh, we should also mention like we actually were like pretty I feel like we're like oh pretty excited for this exhibition because it was kind of cool. Like it was really different. It
And
actually
it's fashion related, and we're
yeah,
really into that kind of um,
intersection.
intersection of art,
Yeah.
traditional fine arts, and fashion. So it was very much up our alley.
Yeah, and we got outfits made that we got a recycled skirt made even.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Mm-hmm.
did like a little photo
For
session.
one of the sections of the exhibition that was
Yeah.
about recycled materials,
Yeah.
it
Insert
was a
photo.
local designer. Like we basically prepared everything, all of that. The curator came in with an attitude of being kind of doing us a favor, which is really funny because it's like I can, if I needed to, I could talk about any exhibition without your input, really. So it's
She
not like this is something that I needed assistance with, really.
just like the her vibe just as a human was so like it was not it. I
Yeah, and I thought that maybe it's just a day like that for her. Like maybe it
yeah.
was just a bad day. But based on her presentation of the curator of this exhibition that we went to, and the name of the exhibition, by the way, let me say it to you, because we will name it in the name of the video, obviously, but just so you don't have to look at that, I guess. Multiple Realities, Experimental Art in the Eastern Bloc from 1960s to 1980s. By Eastern Bloc, they specifically mean Central Eastern Europe, not the entirety of
Or
like Soviet
Eastern
Union or anything like that. It was specifically Eastern Central Europe, okay?
the curator.
Oh yeah. And then when we went to the opening of the exhibition again, I always have a real I don't know, it's really weird the way that Western people are always trying to kind of collect all identities like what are those called, like infinity stones. It's a little strange because this curator introduced the curator of this exhibition because it's a traveling exhibition. It's not like our Vancouver Art Gallery produced exhibition. So she introduced him by being like, I have this special insight into the Eastern Bloc because I myself am from like former Yugoslavia, which I was like, oh, strange, because I already looked you up beforehand because I do my homework, and you're not at all Eastern European, not none of the countries that are in Eastern Europe really. By her parents. And what she meant by that, I later found out, is that she lived there for like a year when she was 2 or something. So it's kind of like me saying that I'm a Cypriot just because I lived there. And even then, I lived there for 3 years, my first 3 years, and then I lived when I was a teen. I was living there for a year.
And you're
At
born
least I was
there.
conscious when I was there once, you know? And still I don't go around saying that I'm a Cypriot or that I have like this, that I understand their culture to like this special degree,
That was
whatever.
so good that she
I,
mentioned
I,
that.
dude, it's like it's really interesting. It's always gonna be a thing here. I don't understand why, but like they genuinely want to collect all identities to have this special word in. I don't understand why. What the fuck is the point, dude? Anyway, so the interview that we had with her was really, it was really strange. I didn't know what to do with it later on. I just decided not to release it because not only was it really condescending from her side, like
Yeah.
the conversation was just not
Even
something
just
that I would want to expose anybody to be listening to someone speaking on things like that. But
yeah, even just the tone of it, like
the tone,
she seemed
yeah.
so uninterested and it wasn't worth putting out, honestly.
Yeah, she was really uninterested in it and then disinterested. And on top of it all, the most glaring issue that I had with this interview was the fact that I could not hide the glaring inconsistencies in her creation. Like there's no way I can present this curatorial work to people, say like quote the specific passages from the curatorial statement and not have a bunch of curators around the globe who are watching it be
Hmm.
kind of side-eyeing me, that I'm not like, at least in terms of like being an interviewer of the like artist or gallery personnel and whatever, like I would definitely would have lost a lot of credibility in that sense because Um, dude, I'm just being honest here. The approach was very lazy, especially in the way, insofar as them trying to explain how this exhibition was unique as a fashion exhibition to compare to other fashion exhibitions, right?
Or, like how it was more adjacent to the arts versus just another like
Yes.
fashion retrospect.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Like
yeah.
the way that they were trying to, because this seems like something that, like more people would show up to because it's more understandable to the general public, right? So the
Mhm.
way that they were trying to kind of frame it, I guess, in an academic sense, is that, oh, it's a lot more about the arts. It's showing off how fashion and art are kind of interconnected and whatever. And there were a lot of issues in specifically the logic of that curation.
Yeah, because like they had amazing pieces. They
Amazing
had
pieces.
they had Iris Van Herpen, they had like Comme des
Ava
Garçons.
Song Herpin will always be my one of my favorites in terms of her like
Yeah.
just approach to fashion and to making her pieces. She's
Yeah.
always doing something really experimental and new and exciting. So she had great pieces in there. It's not
Yeah.
like it was completely empty of any input from all those artists and designers all over the world.
And
No, it
just
was pretty well done in that sense.
no, it was like there was good pieces. What was wrong was actually the curation was what was the issue.
Mhm. Mhm. The
Because there's
internal
amazing pieces
logic,
in there.
the internal logic of the
Yeah,
exhibition
the
was
concepts, the
lacking. Every single section was trying to be something that it was not. Like it was trying to present
Mhm.
like there was some new approach to the selection of pieces where there wasn't and stuff like that. And it's like we went through the exhibition and I was like, okay, let's write down this question, let's write down that question so we could ask her what she meant exactly because there's so many inconsistencies that I need to clear them up,
yeah,
and it might
and
just be an issue of the verbiage in those little passages that we were privy to, right?
mhm.
And the interview basically showed us that there was no better explanation, there was no correction or no better way of looking at the pieces and how they were placed together. Like maybe if you squint at it you can give it a C, you know.
I feel like I feel like a lot of the issues with it too is that they were only coming from it with like kind of like from only one direction. So it's like you can interpret a lot of things about it with an art lens, but I actually don't think they understood anything about the actual like the artwork, quote unquote, being clothing, like coming from their own collections and stuff. I feel like they didn't really like they needed somebody who actually had knowledge about fashion and art.
Who
Um,
loves fashion, someone
yeah,
who actually like
somebody who's
really loves fashion as an art form, who
yeah,
actually not someone who's like, oh, this is adjacent, like they're speaking our language so we can understand that they're trying to be an artist. No, someone who actually can seek and look at art that's in fashion form and see it for what it is.
yeah.
I don't think that
This
they had that.
yeah, they're like so many of their statements just didn't do any of the pieces any justice. Okay, I mean, this is not about the fashion exhibition. We're
Yes,
gonna
but this is just like an introduction to how like this evening went. That we showed up, we were waiting for them to introduce the curator so he can like walk us through the exhibition.
Mhm.
And once again, it is a good thing that we have heard him speaking on all of these things, so we're not going to be misinterpreting him. But I also watched all of his speeches that he gave in the Walker Gallery because he's from Walker Museum. What is it?
Yeah, I think it's Walker Gallery. Well, at
It's
least it's
Walker Art Center.
ah arts.
And so basically, I watched all of those. Like, there's one from Walker, there's another one from, like, I think some other places where they traveled with the exhibition and stuff like that. There's a lot of videos of the exhibition if you want to see it online too. I know there's a lot of people in our, comments and whatever who are from different places in Europe, some from Eastern Europe who have a lot of opinions on this type of exhibitions and of, your own people kind of going overseas and speaking on it. So I kind of was postponing this conversation for a really long time. Obviously, it's fucking June. It's the end of June. We went there at the end of December. It's been half a year. And mostly it was because I didn't know how to even approach this conversation because there's just so much to say, especially about the Eastern European immigrants and how willing we are to step on people who are oppressed here for the sake of our own promotion here, how
Mhm.
readily we are available to play the victim card just so we can get some points here where it would make us kind of
Totally.
simultaneously prop up people who were slave owners here, people who lobbied for segregation and things like that. It's just not a great look in general. And I don't give a fuck about the look. I give a fuck about your actions, and your actions are also not great. But this exhibition, Multiple Realities, it opens up with this section.
I have it in my notes somewhere.
Yeah, public and private spaces of control, right?
Polish collective Academia Ruszu 1977 prank performance film Stumble.
Projected onto this.
Yeah, like suspended screens.
Yeah, there's like
Yeah.
three of them.
It
And
was yeah, it's definitely the centerpiece of that section.
yes, I would say so.
At first it's supposed to be like comedic. This guy
Oh yes, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
tripping while walking, like I guess there's like a crowd there, he's just like on the street. And passerbys just like stop and laugh at him. But he's actually doing this right outside a Communist Party headquarters.
Yeah, so the whole point is like, oh, the control, and it's kind of like presented as he's creating this art piece that's supposed to be calling, I assume, the government,
Mhm.
the communist government, I assume, because that's the way that it's presented, at least by Pavel Pish. His Pish is the one who's creating it, right? So he's saying that with this kind of curation here, that this is subverting and engaging this highly policed public space, all of that, right?
Yeah, I feel like
Um,
he's saying that like they kind of threw laughter and shit.
this is how funny this is, that when you're talking about oppression, you think that this is the way to go about it.
Thumbs down for real on oppression.
Apparently, I'm sorry, apparently stumbling wasn't allowed in communist states. Stumbling was illegal, apparently. I understand that this is supposed to be a prank performance. I understand that it's supposed to be like, kind of like a disruption type of performance.
Yeah, and
It's still stupid as hell, though. Like, it
I
still
guess
doesn't do anything.
I guess they're saying like what are they what are they trying to say like the the passerbys like the crowd like laughing and thinking it's funny that he's tripping is supposed to be like at least this is what he points out in during our
Yeah.
walkthrough. He says
Mhm.
that the crowd's reaction betrays the essential caution one needed to survive amid Poland's climate of oppression at the time. So like he's saying that laughing because someone tripped was like a betray of how they should act during the communist parties.
Dude, it's so idiotic though. Like, Pavel, I need you to be so fucking for real for 1 second. Like, there are real things you could discuss, and this is what you choose. And the worst part about this is like, if this would be the work that was there, and that was about it, for example, right? Like, it wouldn't be surrounded by even more ridiculous shit around. I think that it would slide.
Yeah.
But the shit that's around it was this other artwork in quotations called Triangle, which absolutely pissed me the fuck off because it's literally the same thing as what we discussed with my classmate who was
You just have to say closet story, girl.
yeah, okay, the closet story. You guys, I'm not gonna say all the words because we don't want to get flagged, but if you remember, it's the closet story. I
The
will,
traumatizing closet story.
yeah, it's in our episode in, I believe, season two, somewhere at the end of season two,
University
mayhaps.
art school
University horror
stories.
stories.
Yeah.
Uh, you can go listen to that story if you want to. But it's
Warning.
basically similar, but in this case, there's like the climate here is that apparently people weren't allowed to use balconies. Instead of just using the balcony and getting reported, maybe, and showing that even just using it is a big deal. This artist, her name is Sanya Ivikovic. She basically went outside to the balcony.
Do you
And
want
she did it because the state's leader at the time for them, I guess it's Iosip Broz Titos. I don't know, dude. Not my language. But she decided to be on the balcony because he was gonna he was supposed to pass by in a limousine or something. A
mm,
limousine is crazy. Never seen that happen with our officials, but okay. The point is, she went out. She is sitting down. She has a book in her hand, and I think to us he said that it was Marx.
Marks? Yeah.
I wait. Let me see. I have a picture here. Let me see if I can see what she's reading exactly.
Yeah, I can look at the picture as well.
Let me zoom in. Zoom in, enhance.
There's something in society. It says,
Elites and Society
ah,
by Thomas Baltimore, a British Marxist sociologist. So it wasn't Marx, it was
it's
just,
Marxist.
it was Marxist, mayhaps,
Okay.
perchance. She's sitting on the balcony, she's reading that book, right? And what she's doing is masturbating,
Diddling her bean.
diddling her bean, thank you. Once again, sorry guys for using such ridiculous language, but we genuinely like gotta do what we gotta do sometimes to
Yeah,
be
we're
able
gonna
to
get
still like we already swear so much that sometimes we still get flagged. But anyway, so yeah, so she's like diddling herself on the balcony, public space, technically private slash public space, and this is like treated as an example of prosecution, of people being prosecuted for I guess existing in public space, and that you would get, basically it was kind of like said that oh, it's just everyone was so like watched all the time by the authorities that she got someone at the door knocking and telling her to go inside almost immediately. And clearly this is not someone watching her the entire time. Clearly it's just her neighbors calling in, calling the police and being like, dude, there's a diddler outside.
yeah, like
Why Pavel, why this work? Why this work here? If you're trying to portray the difficulty of surveillance, why this work?
like why?
I personally do not like people being able to diddle themselves out on the streets.
Yeah,
When
like
I
I'm
was
not gonna do
14, I
that.
had a neighbor in Cyprus who would literally come outside on his balcony and masturbate to me and my roommate. And the police didn't do shit because, well, we were Ukrainian and Russian. They did not give a flying fuck. They just assumed that that's normal behavior towards us.
It's
For
disgusting.
another reason that we were trafficked heavily after the fall of Soviet Union, which is something that you would know. I would hope at your big age. It's not normal to have adults in public masturbating. This isn't something that everyone's consented to witness, especially not children. So I don't understand why you chose this specific example. You could have chosen something else, literally anything else. There's a lot of examples of persecution. Honestly, in every country, especially now with America like doing all the shit that they're doing, you cannot deny that there's a lot of persecution going on there. Why choose this work?
Why does diddling always have to show up somewhere as some kind of
And why is it always considered so fucking controversial too?
yeah,
Like
like
it's
some acting
controversial
out?
in a sense of like doing it in public to people or in front of people who did not consent.
Yeah. It's
But in
like
general, who gives a fuck? Go diddle yourself inside. Is that difficult? Is it genuinely that difficult to do?
it's not as edgy as you think it is, guys. Like
One artwork was showing that you can't stumble in front of the Communist Party building, and the other one is showing you can't even masturbate on balconies, guys. Do you understand what it looks like? Do you compute what this looks like?
it's like really
Absolutely ridiculous.
it's not even like the concept or the content that they're trying to express. It's like why did you choose these specific works? I feel like they're not
Exactly.
they're not
Because the thing
strong.
is, we're definitely not aligned uh, politically. I'm sure because I actually do have leftist politics. You, on the other hand, based on everything that you've said in all of your speeches and everything, what I understand is that you selectively give a fuck about people's rights and you selectively don't give a fuck about people's rights. Very much liberal behavior, which is a right wing party in America. So we're not gonna align because I'm an actual leftist. You're not Now, what on earth did you think you were doing here with this selection of artworks? Because this is making us look ridiculous, like silly. Not even, not even like if you wanted to talk about persecution, you could have chosen something that would have showed it instead of being like showing this. It's just genuinely making us look silly.
It's just like, especially having them side by side, like in the same exhibition, like in the same
Exactly.
section, it was just like, okay, like it's
What is going on? Like, do you not see the contradictions? Do you not see how silly it's making the situation out to be? Now, the next work that's literally right after this, I believe, I think it was in the next, like in a little kind of nook in the gallery.
hmm.
I'm not sure if it was exactly that room or if it was the next one, but it was like somewhere around there. Was Gyula Concoli, I assume. I don't know how to pronounce it exactly. Sorry to you guys. Like, if you are from like Hungary or whatever, you can correct me in the comments. But this is an artwork that they recreated because it's kind of like it's using ice and other things like that, so you can't just like have it preserved, so you have to recreate it. And this one is called Bleeding Monument, so
Oh
it's kind of
yeah.
making it look like it's a bloody body, which is a reference to Hungarian revolution, an uprising, I guess not a
Mhm.
revolution, but an uprising
Yeah,
of 1956
this was
specifically.
yeah, this was in the Nook in that section. I remember
Okay, okay, yeah. Again, I just don't understand why you would place it there. It just disrespectful. Disrespectful as shit, okay? Now, let's look past that. Talk about the fact that, and this is again, I want to underline that Pavel couldn't have known this because this is information that's been declassified by the CIA and FBI recently. This is not something he could have known when he was curating this, okay? This particular uprising was a very controversial, even behind the Iron Curtain, okay? Even to people who were communists, it was really, really controversial situation. If you're not aware, there was like an uprising in Hungary, and then I believe Khrushchev sent people to deal with the uprising, and it was quite violent. I think that there was like 2,000 casualties of Hungarian people, about 700 casualties of like soldiers who were sent there. It's the origin, this situation is the origin of the term tanky. So the term is used for basically anyone who's like a leftist who was approving of the force, of the brute force used, right? So like it's usually now it's kind of lost its meaning, like based on like TikTok comments and whatever. People just throw it around at anyone they think is
yeah, our
leftist.
that's what our haters like to call us.
Yeah. But in general, this was a very specific term that had very specific meaning that people were using on both sides of the aisle, leftists and rightists. Everyone was using it specifically to address this particular uprising and this particular issue, right? Everyone was kind of constantly at odds with each other when talking about this in terms of like whether it was a color revolution or not, right? Color revolution is basically like funded situations that are usually funded by an outside force, like Western countries funding the countries that were behind the Iron Curtain, funding like groups of people to cause an uprising and cause, usually they were hoping for a civil war, complete unrest, a lot of casualties, and other things like that, right? Now, to just kind of like stop the spread, as they were saying, right? In this case, most people were talking about this for what, more than half a century, right? 70 years, people been kind of talking about whether it was a color revolution or an actual revolution, right? Like people have been kind of at odds with each other. It's never been very clear. There was a lot of shit going on, honestly, about this particular issue. If you go even just on Wikipedia for this, you will be able to see how many opinions there are about it. Just 3 months ago, and once again, I'm not trying to say that Pavel knew this and he purposefully misinformed the public.
hmm.
I want to underline that because he couldn't have known this. No one knew for sure. It's been genuinely debated for years, okay? But recently, the new declassified information has been released about the Hungarian Revolution and that it was a CIA color revolution. This was just uncovered.
Holy shit.
It was just released because there are, I'm sure you guys are aware that there are rules in all countries, most countries, where you have to declassify information that's past a certain point of like time, depending on what type of information it is, that it needs to be declassified on the governmental like websites or in the archives. Before it was archives, now it's usually the government website. If you're Canadian, you can go to Canadian website, for example, and find all of our documentation and stuff like that. This was literally three months ago. This happened where it
Shit.
was released, and it's literally the document that's like, yeah, we did this. So this is not a debate anymore. I didn't have an opinion on it because, to be honest, I was too young to have an opinion even 5 years ago. I
Hmm.
didn't know enough. Then, when I learned recently more about it, I didn't really have an opinion again because I am not an expert in Hungarian history. So I was like, I don't feel like it's for me to be deciding shit here.
Hmm.
And then now I don't even have to decide anything anymore because the documents are out there. The Americans said, yeah, that was us. Ugh. Sorry, guys. Well, they didn't say sorry, but you know what I mean. As per usual, people were kind of memeing about it online. It was a big deal because everyone, again, I'm telling you, this was a big, big, big
Hmm.
issue. And then a lot of people were posting this like meme thing that's like, right, conspiracy theories. And it's like these people who are like, oh my God, the Jews are controlling the world. No, we have to burn the masks. COVID is fake. And then the leftist conspiracy theories is like, I'm pretty sure the CIA had something to do with insert assassination or coup here. And the other person is like, we know they admitted it in 1978. So we're in
Girl.
a pickle here, okay? So I'm just saying that this particular work, I don't think that Pavel could have known,
Yeah.
but I do think that once again, dude, I'm sure your grade is still gonna be good if you're in like curatorial school or some shit because people don't give a shit about things like that apparently. But please be more mindful about that because it is very disrespectful.
Yeah.
Putting this masturbation work, this uh prank work right next to a work
To
that looks like a bloody body.
body. You have to search, like, I search it up,
Please,
guys.
yeah, you guys search it
Yeah.
up because again, just why, man? Why? I don't understand. I don't get it. Why be like that?
Yeah. That was a very interesting choice, honestly. I'm not sure if it was like they did that because of space, because it's quite a big piece, but still not a great move curatorially. Like
Yeah, I'm not honestly, I'm not sure.
it's a very sobering work to look at and have
Yeah.
some girl masturbating to a Marxist book like beside it, you know?
It's just one of those things where you're like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Anyway, so another work that I remember that I want to address is this work of
John Sag series of black and white photographs of an early 70s
yes.
apartment in Prague. The
Yeah,
rumpled
yeah, yeah.
sheets of an unmade, yeah, that guy. It's called House Search. And it's quite mundane. It's there's something eerie about it because it's like abandoned. It's just a bunch of photos of like this after a fail raid by the secret police. And he pretty much left it as it is and packed up his family and some belongings and left. And that those are kind of the last photos he took of them.
Kind of a calm before the storm type of deal. This is supposed to be kind of like touching to see like a peek at their day-to-day life, their just regular life, whatever, right? So I was like, oh, that's kind of like that's cute, right? Because like it's showing his life with his girlfriend. Now, let me actually screen share with you because so later on I looked him up and he was born in 1942. His father, Jan Sagel Sr., lost his business during the nationalization and franchising of the Postal Service and became a tractor driver for the United Agricultural Cooperative. So, uh, at home, there was also a strong and marked position towards the totalitarian regime or system, which would have an impact on Jan's entire life. Yes, because your dad was a who? Kids? Anyone?
Anyone?
Anyone? He owned something that was supposed to belong to people. He was a capitalist who was making money from owning things, not from his labor. So when he became an actual worker, he was really pissed about it because you guys, you should be happy being workers. You should be happy being workers. He, on the other hand, he should be living in the ivory tower. He should be getting pampered while you work, not him. You understand? This is why this is a totalitarian regime and why it's so scary.
Because they made the big boss work.
They made them work. So
And that's oppression.
it's so
That's oppression.
scary, and that's why Jan is so scared. Um, I why are you like this, Pavel? You're making it hard to like any of this because why? Why? It's kind of like being like if I were to come in and be like, yeah, poor little Ayn Rand, this Russian little girl. She was just like her dad's pharmaceutical empire was taken away from him. Everyone had to get medicine when they needed it.
God
And
forbid.
poor Ayn Rand had to sit in classrooms with slaves. Can you imagine? That's why she ran to the West and told everyone about how bad it was. She had to sit in classrooms with the slaves, and she knew that the West will understand how horrifying that is. They will understand how horrifying it is to sit in a room with somebody who's a slave. Because you're not, and you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be made to sit with those dirty people that you own, not communicate with or live with.
Yeah, it was really offensive to her and her eyes.
You had to run all the
Working.
way to New York and write her little eugenics sprinkled books. It's so good that the Americans took her in. Like, are you joking? Are you making fun? But then you know what? Then there was the Daisies movie, okay? Now, I have a really complicated relationship with this movie, okay? Because when I found out about it, I was into it because I was a teen who found out about it through Pinterest.
Through
Um,
Tumblr.
yeah, I looked at the pictures and I was like, hell yeah. I heard it was feminist and I said, hell yeah. And I think that we might gonna have to have a whole episode on daisies
Daisies. Yeah.
because I spent an ungodly amount of hours trying to figure out what the director, Vera Chitilova, I believe, what she was going for. Because I genuinely wanted to find out like what was so what was misconstrued about her work, right? Because I thought that it was misconstrued. Of course, she wouldn't be making something that kind of spits in the face of people who funded the movie that she made, right? Because it was publicly funded. Once again, one of the things that I did not realize as a teen is that back in the day in Soviet Union, all the artworks were funded by people,
Yeah.
not by like some kind of private corporation, like person who owns a corporation or something like that, who just wanted to like give a bunch of money, right?
Hmm.
So it kind of didn't compute to me how much of a difficult situation it is, because you are using the public funds to make this. And she did get the opportunity to make it without any changes, which is already crazy. I don't know. We're gonna have to talk about it all because there's a lot to discuss.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And fellow girlies finding out those images of them swinging on the chandelier and being like, that's kind of cunty. Like, we know what it is, so we need to talk about it.
Paradox is something that we'll talk a little bit about when we go through these slides today. Another paradoxical site is the Soviet military cemetery, which is right next to the airport. If you land in Warsaw, you'll take a taxi into the city and you'll pass it on your way. It's a place where 21,000 Soviet soldiers who died fighting Nazi soldiers are buried. It was created in 1950. Its center is marked by a tall column with a red star and with elaborate socialist realist sculptures on the sides, which are vandalized constantly, typically on the anniversary of the Soviet invasion of Poland. It's also a vast open space, and it's perfect for fashion photo shoots, which happen there all the time as well. So Roland Barthes famously wrote that photography actually blocks memory. It quickly becomes a counter memory. And as I was preparing for this talk, I was reflecting on how I have this very vivid memory in my mind from my childhood, from being in Budapest in 1990 or 1991. And I distinctly remember that on the iconic Széchenyi Chain Bridge, the communist emblem was shrouded. I remember looking through the back of the car and looking through the window and seeing this incredible thing, which is insignia covered by a shroud. And then in preparation for this talk, I desperately looked all over the internet. I could not find a single image that corroborates that memory. But it stuck with me for a long time. I think I was only 4 at the time, but somehow it stayed with me. And today it has been replaced with the Hungarian coat of arms. With an exhibition like Multiple Realities,
Okay.
Okay, let's talk about it.
So, Pavel was talking about the fact that there's a lot of architectural differences between what was built before World War II. A lot of architecture was destroyed, and instead there were a bunch of buildings built afterwards, obviously to replace, like to build like hospitals, buildings like Hrushevka buildings that are kind of were created very quickly. They were quite small, and they were created to eliminate the need for immediate housing. So so no one would be homeless basically, right?
Homeless. Yeah.
And obviously this needed to be done quickly because I don't know if you fucking heard, but World War II was pretty fucking devastating, and has left many cities in rubble. Now, the fact that he's kind of trying to say that this monument to Soviet soldiers is kind of like a paradox, and it's weird that it's even in Warsaw, is really weird to me, because you can dislike Soviet Union all you like, but the fact of the matter is 27 million people were killed in the pursuit of ending fascism.
Fascism. Yeah.
However, for some reason you think that it's normal to talk about this in such a manner that's just weird, because we're not talking about soldiers that were lost during like some kind of revolution that got stomped out or some shit like that, right? We're
Mhm.
talking about people who were fighting the Nazis.
Yeah.
Why do you have, like, what's with the sympathy here being placed in really weird places? It's not part of your history. Because the thing is, every time people talk about this in such a manner, especially in countries that have more difficult relationships with socialism or with Soviet Union, people who are targeting this monument, you couldn't have chosen a different monument that's not for soldiers that fell in that particular war. There's many
It's like
monuments that don't have that attachment to it that you could have chosen. Don't you think it's a little bit troubling?
he could have just talked about that memory he had of like the Soviet Union or the communist crest being replaced with the Hungarian crest. He could have just left it at that, but then he like
That's also strange because once again, so it was replaced with a Hungarian crest.
I would rather have just had that and then him not talk about the Nazi monument because
Why
like
not replace the crest with a new crest entirely? Why did you have to bring the monarchy back? Like why bring, as if monarchy is a good thing, as if monarchy did not literally pillage all the time, as if it's not a system that's specifically made for imperialism. And if you're
imperialism.
gonna be like Lisa, well, Russia has a crest that's imperial now. Yeah, I'm aware. And what do you think? I like it?
Yeah.
You think I
Like
fucking like it?
we're not we don't agree with what the fuck they're doing now. Like everybody is
Who do you
everybody
think? Who do you think you're fucking talking to? I don't have this mental dissonance that you have. Apparently, I actually do follow my own thoughts and actually stay consistent with my politics.
everyone is capitalist scum now.
Literally, I just don't understand what's going on. Like this, to be for real, like with all the Eastern Europeans who are immigrating here, right? Here I mean West, any Western country really. Um you and I both know how much of a social cred you get when you talk disparagingly about the Eastern Bloc. How much people enjoy it here, right? You know how well it pays to do it. How you will get opportunities to curate your own show at your age. Just if you just offer them this perspective.
Yeah.
You and I both know that you get social cred for that. When I was in high school, I did not understand anything about politics. So when people were asking me about Soviet times and I had like a bunch of complaints in my head from other people, right? Like I was like, oh yeah, like this was bad and this was bad and whatever, whatever, right? When I was talking to them and I would see that they're kind of putting you on a pedestal of as if you're some kind of survivor, it was very useful. It's a tool. It's like a currency.
At this point, they will market the fuck out of anything that will make what they're not even like okay, like in the past, imperialism, capitalism, same to me. Anything that will distract people from realizing how bad that system is.
Yeah,
And
anything that makes you the victim of a different system that kind of um, supports the system that's here
yeah. Even
ideologically.
yeah, even if
Um,
it's like systems that are adjacent to today's that exist in the past. They're like, you know what? It's imperialism still better than communism. Do not rise up.
yeah,
Like,
forget about it.
yeah, forget about
Um,
it.
yeah, it's the exact same thing that they're trying to do with Philippines every fucking day of the
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again, Filipino people are being like, that's some bullshit. And every time they're trying to completely
Like, bring
stomp it
back
out.
Marcos. Bring back Marcos.
Seriously, seriously, what the fuck? And the thing
So,
is, this whole like, dude, if you guys are wondering why I'm going hard at Pavel in a way, because I think I'm being quite nice, but if if I'm not, oh well. The reason why I'm going hard at him is because I looked at the funding and at the gallery, at the art center that actually funded and produced this show, and I'm not happy. I am not happy. The worst part about looking into anything is just how fucking rotten our system is. It's so depressing.
yeah. Every time we do stuff like this, it's always like we know what we're gonna get, but we wanna still be wishful and hope that it's not, but it always is.
No, seriously. Like for example, he works for Walker Art Center. It's organized by the Walker Art Center with major support provided by Martha and Bruce Atwater. Could not find shit about those two. By the way,
Yeah.
curated by Pavel Pish. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right. So the first two that are kind of like supported it the most, I could not find anything about them at all. It's like they don't fucking exist. I found a picture of them, but that's about it.
It's weird
Um,
though because the one thing that we do know about them is they are hella rich and because
hella rich,
they support a lot of
a lot of
a
art.
lot of art related things
A
like
lot of universities and stuff like that. Like they've got crazy money, and the fact that we can't find them is very, very bad. Let's see. So the Weiser Family Foundation is the one that's the next in line. So they are kind of, contributed the most in terms of money. This family foundation was created by Ronald Weiser. And if you don't know who Ronald Weiser is because you're not from Minnesota,
fair enough.
which is very fair, we're all Canadians here. So, well, not all of us, but I mean, like, me and my assistant.
Yeah.
Basically, he is an American businessman, philanthropist, diplomat, politician, and political fundraiser. He is the founder of McKinley Associates Inc., a real estate investment company. From
Red flag.
2001 to 2004, he served as U.S. ambassador to Slovakia, a major donor and financier for the Republican Party. Weiser played key fundraising roles in the presidential campaigns of George W. Bush,
Oh, get ready.
John McCain, and Donald Trump in
Trump.
2016, by the way. And I mean,
I
I mean, he might have also helped him in. Oh yeah, he did help him in the second election too.
yeah.
Okay, great.
They're
This
like
is
this.
fantastic. So a Nazi basically. That's wonderful. Let me actually give you another thing that you're gonna love. He is, first of all, he was instrumental to making sure that Minnesota, technically speaking, they're blue in votes, but he has made it so the entire system, like a lot of people who are placed in really important positions, are Republican. Another thing that he's done played a key role, okay, in the passage of right to work law,
Oh, girl.
which sounds good, right? Like your right to work, like you have a right to work, right? What would be bad about a law like that? Well,
Anyone who studied law will know what this term is.
yeah. Well, um, it refers to state laws that prohibit union security agreements. between employees and labor unions. Um, so it is also the type of thing that was advocated for at the same time as it was grouped together with racial segregationist movement,
Hmm.
which is quite obvious if you understand that this a bunch of capitalists whose interest is to have more slave labor and to make sure that you can't do anything about it and to make sure that legally they're protected and you are exposed. This is the guy who has created that foundation, and you can tell why it would be interesting for him to do all that, right?
Hmm.
Why it would be his interest to fund this art center. About this art center, by the way, Lord, so much to cover, you guys. It's just not even, and it's none of it is fun.
But it's just like so, it's like all of it is just so simple. Like the interconnectedness, guys, between these, like what people's politics are and what they're trying to spread and like to spread like fucking venereal disease
Well,
spread to the world. I feel like with all of this, art in general, and like us critiquing this, we're not saying like we're not trying to be like, oh yeah, this is right, this is right, this is right, blah 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 blah. But well, in a way, pause. Actually, yes, we are trying to be like socialism is right. Okay, we're not erasing the past of like the things that were bad that happened. But the thing that like drives me nuts is why people always be spewing out things being like the Soviet Union is so bad. Look at what they've done. Blah 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 blah. But like you know how easy it was for us to find this information?
yeah,
Nobody critique yourself first. Like critique everything. Not just like get
yeah,
like victim mentality where it's like one versus the other. Because at that point, if you're playing this game, there are a lot of stupid people out there, but there are a lot of smart people out there too. It's like this is not gonna fly, especially when you're dealing with the arts. Because I at least I would like to hope a lot of the people who are actually smart are in the arts. I like to hope. So there's a lot of viewers who are gonna like dissect it in the way that we are.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The the Walker Art Center itself already has a lot
It has a
of
crazy
issues.
history.
Has really, yeah, yeah. They've been up to some shit. So a talk that
Mhm.
Pavel gave starts with this.
Before we begin, I'd like to ground us by acknowledging that the Walker Art Center and the Minneapolis Sculpture Garden are located on the contemporary, traditional, and ancestral homelands of the Dakota people. This site, which was once an expanse of marshland and meadow, holds meaning for the Dakota, Ojibwe, and Indigenous people from other Native nations who still live in the community today. It is my great pleasure to acknowledge the many generous supporters of the exhibition.
Okay, so the many generous supporters, I told you about a couple of those. Another one is this guy who is working in mergers and acquisitions, and all of them, almost all of them, are mergers and acquisitions of healthcare
Hmm.
insurance companies in America. Wonderful.
Hashtag Luigi.
Huh?
Hashtag Luigi Maglione.
No, seriously, where is the Mario Brothers when you need them?
Yeah, where is
Um,
Luigi when you need him most?
he starts with acknowledging, like with land acknowledgments, right? However, the Walker Center is the same exact center, and you probably heard about it if you're native. You probably heard about this center because there was a huge, huge scandal. So, Walker Art Center's controversial gallows sculpture will be removed and ceremonially burned. After outcry from Dakota Nation, local Native American leaders will oversee the removal of Sam Durant's sculpture scaffold. This work was inspired by a bunch of different hangings, which is already fucked up to say. But this scaffold was also inspired by the hanging of 38 Dakota men in Mankato in 1862 and was intended as a symbol against capital punishment.
Like, you guys.
Sam Durant is not native. Just in case you were wondering, I know if you're native, you weren't wondering, but
Yeah.
for those of you who are native, you were probably wondering. No, he's not. He's not. Yeah,
And again, we want to say it's a commissioned work, y'all.
it's a commissioned work by this center. All right.
Come on,
And if
man.
you're wondering, why am I underlining being an immigrant who uses people who were abused here as stepping stones to becoming the favorite, lapdogs of people who were abusing others here? Why I'm always underlining it? It's because, for example, the person who was a director at the time, her name is Olga Viso. About her, so she actually stepped down because of this, because it was such a huge scandal that she had to step down. I mean, no one like made her per se, but you know what I mean. Yeah, so it was speculated that it was because of this Sam Duran's work, though museum professionals have publicly expressed support for Vizzo's handling of the work's reception. Vizzo reflected on the controversy in the opinion piece for the New York Times. New York Times, the most respected publication out there, decolonizing the art museum, the second wave, which is so crazy to have a person who commissioned a work like this to be writing about decolonization of the art museum. A lot.
Girl.
That's a lot. And she's like, where she acknowledged the decolonizing forces at play in museums and broader art world, and urged museum leaders to stop seeing activists as antagonists. It's really funny to say that after all that, honestly.
Yeah, not surprising at all. Yeah, let us know if you want a fucking part two, because like the fact that this was even allowed, like no one questioned this is crazy.
It's literally, it happened in 2017 or something.
Yeah, it's like this is not like in 19th century, y'all. Like this is recently. This is nice.
Yeah. To those people like Pavel who do, the land acknowledgements and then talk about all that and whatever, while being the white person who assumes the position of the oppressor or the proximity to the oppressor, I want all of you guys to explain to me quickly. What the fuck do you mean by decolonization of the art museum then? What did you mean? Writing an op-ed at New York Times? Is that what you guys mean? Doing the exact opposite of what you're talking about? Is that what you mean?
Please respond. You have 48 hours to respond.
What'd you think? What'd you think decolonization meant? Decolonial aesthetics, my ass. What do you think it means? Do you think it means tweeting about it?
This is supposed to be the core of what it is to be human. You know what I mean? Art. And if they can't do it there, then I don't know. I
Dude,
don't know
I
where they can.
genuinely like, honestly, nothing new. Just a bunch of Eastern Europeans playing the victim card just so they can get ahead in their very niche career. Approved by every single slave owner descendant that should have been annihilated at the at the root and stayed around while there was no actual redistribution of the wealth that was worked for or that was created by black and brown bodies in this country.
And you know what? To top it all off, like I feel like we took a long time. Like there was like, dude, we would be talking so much mad shit about the shit we would see at Vancouver Art Gallery. Not that every exhibition is bad, but there definitely are ones that are very
One
like
was really good, the one with the zines. I
yeah,
fucked with that one.
yeah. We've just had I think it's more like we've had instances that are very like that are a little bit deeper than what a normal viewer would get going to the gallery, and like we've seen some things that are very like suspect, and I feel like for a while we're like, we want to have a good relationship with them because obviously it's like this is our city and like
You don't actually come in like not even skeptical but like jaded or something like that. You actually think that you will find people who are actually looking to decolonize those
yeah,
spaces. You're coming into all those institutions like UBC and stuff like that thinking that they're actually being serious about all this yappage that they do,
yeah.
because they do talk about it. That's the thing. It's out there. People say it and you think that they mean it.
And they're just and then only to find out that they're just a more aesthetic version of the CNN news channel. Like
Seriously, seriously. And
it's
it's so disheartening, dude. Like, it's very
yeah, and
depressing. We tried to actually engage with what is already there, thinking that there is something to respect there because it's been there.
yeah.
And unfortunately, um, the older you get, the more you see how full of shit they are, and it's just disheartening because when you are younger you kind of go, maybe I don't understand something. I'll look into it, I look into this, I look into that, and the more you look into it the more disgusted you become.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to roast fucking like the all the curators or whatever. Well, I'll roast the actual main curator of the Vancouver Art Gallery, but like
Those that
we
we've seen the works of, those that we have actually witnessed, obviously
yeah,
we don't want to be lumping everyone together because we don't
together.
know
We're
you,
not.
we don't know your life.
Yeah. But there's we've met a lot of people personally who've worked for the gallery and they're young, they're getting paid tons of money, all of this other
Yeah, and
shit.
they get their jobs because of their papa.
Yeah, mama,
um
papa,
In
mamacita,
this case, in the case that I know of, it was Papa, but yeah, it's obviously like whoever.
mommy,
Mommy?
mamacita.
Mamacita? Your mamacita?
Um, yeah, but for me, the breaking point was seeing my classmate from art school who has a master's degree selling tickets.
Yeah, checking
Wow.
tickets at the door.
Yeah, and also like these young 20 something curators who like, come on, man, dig a little deeper to do the research. Like, it's fucking nuts, okay? That to me
Like
was like
it's not even that difficult. It's not like we're not rocket scientists, by the
we're
way.
not. We're
This is not
not.
a
That's the
difficult
thing.
job. You can just sit down and research, and that's about it. That's all you have to do. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's the thing that gets me the most too, is like people really think like, "Oh my God, this is fucking girl, you are not a heart surgeon. You're not a scientist. You're not an engineer. The information is right in front of your face.
We're not essential.
Yeah, we're not. And I'm sorry, like, if y'all want to post up, fucking post up then. We're not essential. Like,
If I need to keep if I need to like go and work in whatever I was doing at fucking Winners, like
like
sticking
labels.
labels while being you know timed at how fast I'm doing it or whatever the fuck, if I have to do that, but at least I'm not going to be rubbing shoulders with people who genuinely will say and do anything to get money.
Yeah.
I don't understand. We actually talked about another exhibition that was curated at the same gallery by the same people, whatever, whatever. It was Firelay Bias,
Bias, I believe.
and we had the same type of critique in terms of how they spoke about her work.
Yeah.
Not about her
Not
work,
her
but
work.
about the way that they talked about her work, which was very trying to kind of be like, well, she does criticize imperialism, but like, not you guys. Not
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
guys.
Oh, go to that episode if you want to know more about
Not
that.
you
But
guys. We don't mean you. Not you guys who give us money.
yeah.
I
If you
can't
thought
deal with you. It's fucking abhorrent.
if you thought me and Lisa couldn't get any more mad, get ready because season 4 is we're going fucking scorched earth.
Who cares? The world is burning. Every second fucking person is a Nazi. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, like the sympathy and like the benefit of the doubt in me these days, it's dissipated.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've always been somebody who's like really open, and I still am, but when I smell the stench, even a little bit, it's done. Like I'm
As
not
soon
trying
as
to.
you smell the stench of blood money,
Yeah, it's
like
done.
I'm
Like I'm
puking
not.
all over you, bitch. Like I can't control it. It's just a reflex.
Yeah, it's just like I can't deal with it. We can't deal with it anymore, guys. Like,
No. I'm sorry. Listen, we're gonna get hate for this and stuff like that from people who are
yeah, for sure.
honestly better not better, have bigger issues to deal with, because clearly if this has not been informative for you, if it hasn't been kind of for you, you have bigger issues to deal with.
Yeah. You don't need to be
um
talking to us.
yeah, but I don't give a shit. Like who cares at this point? I
Unless
know my
embarrassment
grand
is your
my
thing.
grandma is always like, Lisa, don't say all that like publicly, whatever, and I'm like, you're right. It's not a safe thing to do in general anywhere in the world nowadays.
Yeah,
However, it's either this or what?
literally.
Or what? What else are we gonna do at this point? Now that there's no choice. Like you can't say shit without people being like, well, not our slave owners. Well, not our oligarchs. Not our oligarchs, please. Not them. Your oligarch's bad, mine good. As if we don't have the same fucking problem, bitch. Across borders.
Yeah, as if our leaders aren't like this.
They're hanging out. Their children are on the beach while your children are in the trenches.
Literally. Stop being so gullible and start being skeptical. That's what I have to say.
Literally.
Anyways, do Lisa's happy corner because we're not leaving you guys.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite things recently is saying women and hamster. I just found this tweet by this person, Autumn Pard, and they said women and hamster, humanities, art, music, social sciences, theater, economics, and rhetoric.
That's so fucking good.
It just like makes me giggle every day. A new thing that I keep using as like a meme now. I was looking through this like old Sims 3 CC and like characters and buildings and whatever builds that people were uploading online in like 2012. And one of those things was this. It's it's Pretty Little Liars girls from the first episode, and the way that they just made them stand in the same pose.
I like
I
slightly like uh point 0.5 bird's eye
Yeah,
view.
it's so funny to
Girls,
me. Like it's just the
get
funniest shit
information.
ever. And I love making like I actually send this to my system being like us outside of the club trying to figure out what a Prius whatever looks like.
This looks like. Uh, That's so fucking funny, man.
Oh my God. I guess there's one thing that I can also recommend you guys go see, and that's my recent video on cars.
Oh yes. If you want
Um,
just as neurotic research as this, but you want to laugh, go watch it. It's
yeah,
so hilarious.
literally, because the the things that I found in these cars ripoffs is so unhinged and beautiful. Go
I
ahead and like check it
truly,
out.
I truly was concerned for Lisa's mental state at this point.
Because I kept on
'Cause
calling her and being like, I found another connection.
her obsession with it was so deep, guys. Like,
What am I supposed to do if it's like this? Like,
I'd be like, Lisa, wake up. We're
cars have been dead for 20 years.
we're back to horse-drawn chariots. We're back to
Lisa,
getting cars
Lisa,
in
wake up.
seconds.
Another thing I want to share, and this is not really like a joke, but it's just something that someone drew. Someone drew us as
Oh my God.
Alina and Bibble
So
from Barbie Fairytopia.
it's amazing. It's amazing.
Absolutely amazing job. I think it's so cute, and I absolutely love that Bibble has that mask on. By Bibble, I mean by Sistine.
Yeah. And
It's
she added the
beautiful.
bow.
It's absolutely beautiful.
This is art.
I'm in
This is
awe
art.
of
Yeah, we
this.
want this printed out and
Yeah,
framed.
I should print it out and put it on a wall. Oh my God,
Yeah,
it's so cute. Like,
it's so amazing.
yeah. And it's literally like for our podcast, it says, ugh, as if.
Ah, love it. It's so
It's
good.
cute. It's so cute. Um, but yeah, what's your media corner?
Media of the week this week.
Week.
I've been listening to because R.I.P. Brian Wilson, but I've been listening to a lot of the Beach Boys.
Mm.
I've been listening to God Only Knows on repeat. Like that is literally the only song I've been listening to this whole month. Just that one song. I'm not kidding. Just on repeat. It's gonna be so good. I've been watching the Planet of the Apes movie series. Dude, that shit is so lit. When Caesar, he like gets on the I forgot what he was doing at that point, but he was like, "No!" to the humans, and he like speaks English, and they're like, "Holy shit!" Like that was so epic. But yeah, I've been watching. I'm on the last one, the most recent one that came out last year. Not I don't know how I'm feeling about it because Caesar is not, spoiler alert, he's not in it, and it's not about his family, it's about a new character. But yeah, it really reminds me of like what's going on in society today. And I really
Why would
hope
you watch
that
something that reminds you of society today, girl?
I know, but You know what though? The apes kind of give me hope. I kind of hope they run out like they outrun the humans. Like I want them to win.
Hmm.
But I think in this they're trying to be like humans and apes can fucking coexist. I say no.
Fuck humans. We suck,
We
to
suck.
be honest.
They should get rid of them. And lastly, I've been reading the comic book Mouse.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm rereading it. So, okay, kind of depressing media of the
listen,
week. Sorry about
mayhaps you
that.
shouldn't be doing all that right now.
Yeah, I wish I had something like more fun, but that's just what I've been doing.
We should go back to rewatching Wings together.
I know we do watch Winx like from time to time when we have free time.
When we work on something that doesn't require you to like listen to something or like something manual laborish,
Yeah,
we
like
put
read
on
or
Wings
whatever.
and we like watch it together.
Yeah, usually when you're like, I don't know, editing or something and I'm like fucking sewing or doing something stupid, like
Yeah, but
cooking.
usually when I'm editing, I can't watch something.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's true. What are you doing when you watch Wings? Just
I usually
vibing.
do research.
Oh yeah, yeah, true. You are doing research.
Yeah, because I can like at least compile things that I do need to read if I like find something interesting, whatever.
Yeah. Anyways,
Welcome
welcome
back,
back.
baby. We're
Season 4,
back.
baby.
And we are about to be even more annoying
Yeah.
than ever.
More annoying, more angry, and more
Share
current.
it with people who would like it because I know that at some point it's gonna tip over into the
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely expecting some
backlash.
backlash on this, but
Yeah, considering the numbers of people and what people are thinking nowadays and what they think is normal, it's real depressing out there.
yeah, but you know
So
what? We don't really care. Trump is the president of a whole country, so I don't really care about these haters.
honestly, yeah, at this point, like if that mofo can be a president, what are we even talking about?
Yeah,
What are
what
we
do we
even
even
talking about, dude?
I
Like
ain't scared of
seriously.
you little like people behind a screen if Trump is the president. Come on.
Seriously. So yeah,
Anyways,
if you like give us a like, rate
yeah.
us 5 stars.
Join our
And
Patreon.
oh yeah, join our Patreon.
We got some silly little videos.
Yeah, we do like more silly shit over there.
Oh, and the gaming channel.
Oh yeah, the gaming channel. Um, because if you want something funny, yeah, share it with people who might like it because we need to solidify our troops before we get attacked.
Yeah. We're actually trying to build a real community here. Like,
We're trying to have like a support group for sane people basically because we
yeah.
that's what we need to survive.
Hmm.
That's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Bye.
see you next week. Bye. Pause up.